real life when we can.
I can't wait. We can't wait.
Yeah,
It's lonely.
I'm sure. Let me just see where Miss Ayala is, okay, fellas?
You got it.
Laura, you good there? Oh, perfect, Miss Triviano. Fabulous.
All right, you let me know when you're ready.
And if anybody has any questions, you can type it in the chat, and I'm going to be here reading and talking to Vin. And anybody has any questions, we could ask.
Terrific. All right, we're good to go, fellas.
Excellent. Sixth grade.
All right, we're
Sixth
good to
grade.
go. So,
All right. Welcome to the St. George Theater. It's Mr. Causey again. We are currently on stage, and we have our good friend Vincent Innocente.
Hey guys.
Who is, what exactly do you do?
So I am the manager of marketing and audience services here at the theater. So that means I'm in charge of all the advertising and the marketing, doing the website, the email blast, the social media accounts, buying radio advertising, newspaper advertising, TV commercials, everything you see about the St. George Theater out there is part of my job. Also, the audience services portion, I handle all the customer service. So any issues with selling tickets, or when you come to a show, you see I'm involved with overseeing the staff. So it's a multifaceted job, but these days we have been closed because of the pandemic. So my job has shifted a little bit. I've become a video producer. I've been doing a whole lot of different things, just trying to keep the theater going.
Cool. So right now, I think we're going to give you a tour of the theater, and we're going to show you some kind of cool facts you might not know of things that were filmed here and all stuff like that. So what do we have? Let's show them this. This is a cool view. Not that many people get this view.
Mr. Jacobs, show them, if you guys can see, we're standing on stage at the historic St. George Theater. So this is just under 2,000 seats we have. If you're looking out, you can see that there are no columns that hold that balcony up. So don't be scared, because this is, it's called cantilevered. So maybe your teachers can look up the word cantilevered. It's an interlocking beams that hold this balcony up. It's one of the largest freestanding balconies in any theater in the country. It won awards for the way it was built in its day for architecture. So if you're looking out, you can see there is no bad seat in the house. The balcony hangs very close to the stage. So if you're sitting in the front row of the balcony, you're just about the 8th row downstairs. So those are really great seats. This theater was built, they broke ground on this building in August of 1928, and it opened up to the public on December 4th, 1929. So a little over a year, maybe almost a year and a half it took to build all of this. Sometimes in Staten Island, you could see construction for a little house can take years. But this building was a little over a year, and that was over 90 years ago. So they didn't have the modern technology that we have today. So this is really done by master craftsmen. Everything is done by hand. I don't know if you could see some of the gold leaf paint, Mr. Jacob, if you want to point up here. This is all plaster work. This is done by human hand and molds. They painted paintings inside some of the little curvatures of the ceiling. There's light bulbs around there. It's really a work of art. There's a chandelier right in the center. And that dome, if you could see on top, the ceiling is curved, looks like a half a circle. That dome was built for the sound. Because over 90 years ago, you didn't have the modern microphones and sound systems that we have today. So you can hear, I'm not really speaking very loud, but my voice is echoing throughout the theater. So if you were sitting here in the theater and you were in the last row, we could have a conversation talking at this regular volume and we could understand every single word that we're saying. It's really a work of art, a magnificent architectural feat in its day.
And standing where I am right now, it's cool. I can hear his voice bounce back to me. So it's kind of almost like a monitor as well.
Right. There's, if you guys are familiar, I know you all know Lady Gaga, but a few years ago, Lady Gaga did an album with a legendary singer named Tony Bennett. It was of some older, like Frank Sinatra style songs that maybe your grandparents would like. Tony Bennett performs here. He's been here 5 times. He will be here again whenever we're allowed to have him. And during his show, he'll put his microphone down and he'll sing a song a cappella, which means no music, no microphone. And the whole crowd can hear him perfect, clear as day without the microphone. It's really fantastic. So if you look down here, are there bands? Are there band students on this?
I believe there
Zoom?
might be, yeah.
So down here in front of the stage, this is called the orchestra pit. So I'll get down here so you can see. So this is where Mr. Jacobs would be conducting the orchestra, and the orchestra would be sitting in here. You know, it wouldn't be as big as your student band, but maybe you could have 10, 12 pieces in here, very tight. And during our Christmas show, the orchestra plays live for the show on stage. When we have musicals on the stage, the orchestra plays in this pit. When we don't have an orchestra playing for a show, we put seats in here. So these are like VIP seats in here, where you could be sitting really right up on the stage, watching your favorite performer, watching your favorite comedian. These are really prime seats. While you're standing on stage, I want to show you the rigging system. So there's a lot of equipment. Can they still hear me okay?
Yeah.
There's a lot of equipment that goes into putting on a show. So if you look above Mr. Jacobs' head, there are all of these, they look like poles hanging down and they go straight across. You see a lot of lights. That's a grid back there. So above our heads is what's called the rigging system. It's a line, they're all the line sets. So this is where we hang different light instruments. This is where we would hang set pieces for a show. So if we had a Broadway production and say we were having Aladdin and you needed the magic carpet to fly in, you would have the magic carpet hang from these poles and it would look like magic. If we had Peter Pan would fly in, or Tarzan, they would fly in on these poles here and they would come up and down. This is also where we have our screen. If we were going to show a movie or show some kind of a presentation projected on a screen. Now, over here along the wall is what controls each one of those lines. There are all these different ropes here. Now, if you guys can think back a couple of years in science class when you learned about pulleys, this is similar. This is like a very high-tech, heavy-duty pulley system. Each one of these looks like a joystick would be released. And then we have union workers. It's a great job. There are a lot of jobs available behind the scenes and on the stage. So not only being a performer, but behind the scenes, there's a million jobs available to make a show happen. So very skilled workers would pull these lines down, and that would release something that I showed you above your heads. And then we can change the lights, we can bring the curtains down, we can bring the set pieces down. So it really is fantastic. Look over here. These are speakers. These are extra speakers that we have up here. Very expensive equipment. This would make causing the effects sound much, much louder. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. But you see this staircase here goes all the way up to the top. So this is many, many feet up. This is probably 50, 60 feet high. And this staircase will take you to the catwalk so you can really tweak the lines. Really, you could really, there's just so much to show you here. There's so much backstage. So why don't we go backstage? I'll show you the dressing rooms.
Before we go, this view looks familiar from a movie. I remember.
Ah, okay.
I don't know if you want to say it or I do, but some of you guys might have seen School of Rock, which was filmed right on the stage, and that pit was where all the parents and stuff were looking up.
Actually, a little interesting piece of information for that. So that was shot in 2003 in this building, and that was before the theater reopened. So this theater sat closed for decades, and it was almost going to be knocked down, but it was saved by a local family. If anyone here dances and goes to Mrs. Rosemary's dancing school, Mrs. Rosemary herself and her daughters saved the building from being torn down. But when they came in 2004, there were no seats down here at all. The people before them took the seats out and it was empty. So when you watch School of Rock, there are no seats there at all. That's filled with people who're standing up. So School of Rock, that was Jack Black movie. I'm sure many of you have seen it. It's for you guys, I think it came out before you were born. For us, it was when we were teenagers.
Many of the people that were in the audience there were students at Wagner College at the time.
Oh, wow.
So they did an open casting, and anybody that wanted to come down from Wagner College came in, and they were the audience participants in that movie.
Well, you weren't?
No, I was a senior in high school at the
Oh,
time.
not yet. Okay.
It was a couple months before I started going to Wagner.
Did you know people who came?
Yeah, quite a few.
That's really cool. So also something that was filmed here, if you guys know who Zayn is, Zayn Malik from One Direction, Zayn shot a music video here back in December, came out in January for his song Vibes, Vibez. So if you look up Zayn Vibes on YouTube, that music video was shot entirely in the St. George Theater, which is kind of cool. Also a music video for the song She Used to Be Mine by Sarah Bareilles. If you guys know who Sarah Bareilles is, that was shot entirely here. And a lot of other famous people have played here. The Jonas Brothers played here in 2007 when they were still on Disney. We've had Pete Davidson from Saturday Night Live with the comedian John Mulaney.
The Impractical Jokers,
The
right?
Impractical Jokers have been here many times. We've had a lot of great shows here. Jerry
Beach
Seinfeld,
Boys.
as you guys know. Who's that?
The Beach Boys.
The Beach Boys, of course. It's right in there. I'm sure they're big fans.
Anybody that takes Mr. Jacobs' music class knows about
They know about the Beach Boys.
Boys.
So let me show you where they go before they go on stage.
Ringo Starr from the Beatles performed here.
Me, I
Mr.
hosted
Bossy.
an event here.
The Rocco Laurie Jazz Band performed here.
This is my favorite part of the theater.
Don't show them the wall yet.
Okay.
Go straight into
Go
this.
straight.
I'll show you. Oh, hello there. Didn't know you were coming. So this is the main star dressing room. So when the artists, they're traveling from town to town, and either they arrive on a plane and they get driven here, or they're on a bus that goes from town to town, they would pull up outside and they would come into this room. And either they would take a nap on the couch, or they'll make some phone calls, or just have a drink, have something to eat, and just relax before their show. A lot of artists have their pre-show rituals where they'll, do their vocal warm-ups, or they'll read a book or something, put some music on. So this is where they would put their makeup on. They would do their hair. They may have an assistant helping them with that. They have their wardrobe hanging up on these hangers up. So this would be one of the rooms. So we have 6 dressing rooms in total. And now if they had a manager, right now we have some paint going on, but if we had a manager, they would be in this room. This would kind of be set up like an office. Not those shoes. And the cool thing about this floor, which is what Mr. Causey was saying, everybody who plays here signs the wall. So we've got 2 full walls, almost completely covered with autographs. Let me see if I can show you some that are fun.
They might know this one.
Oh,
It's the Rocco Laurie Dance Company.
you might see some of your names there. Oh, wait, 2018? No, you weren't here yet. But this is, here's John Mulaney, the comedian, and Pete Davidson from Saturday Night Live. I'm sure you guys know. This is Whoopi Goldberg. You know, she's a talk show host now, but she used to be an Oscar-winning actress. There's artists like Steve Martin, who's a comedian, Carol Burnett. Your parents and grandparents might remember her. This is Nick Cannon, which somebody wrote over him, which I'm really not too happy about. Up above the door is Postmodern Jukebox. So not only did they sign the wall, but they drew themselves, which is kind of cool. Up here is the Plain White Tees.
Hey there, Delilah.
Remember Hey There, Delilah? That was their big song. We've had, this is our mayor, Bill de Blasio.
Yeah.
I won't say anything more about him. Jay Leno used to host the Tonight Show. This is Tony Bennett over here, very small. This is Gilbert Gottfried, who's a comedian. He did the voice of the parrot in Aladdin. You guys remember? I don't know how many people have seen Aladdin anymore.
Anybody that's taken my music class, Smokey Robinson of Motown, he was Berry Gordy's right-hand man. Smokey Robinson wrote the song My Girl. The
Here's you
Beach
guys.
Boys, the Beach Boys.
So this is Howie Mandel. Howie Mandel's a comedian, but he also, you might know him as a judge from America's Got Talent. This is Jerry Seinfeld, who's a big-time comedian. This guy here, Brooklyn's own Joe Causey, I think it is. He's related to someone that I know. This is Steven Schwartz. He composed all the music for Wicked.
Defying Gravity.
And he wrote a little bit of music here. Mr. Jacobs can let us know if that's correct or not.
It is.
This is Michael Carbonaro, the magician on True TV. If you guys ever watched the Michael Carbonaro, what's the name of this?
Carbonaro.
The Carbonaro Effect. And a lot of great stuff. So these walls are like a living history. If these walls could talk, boy, oh boy. So you wanna go out to the lobby?
Sure.
Should we some of that?
There's Joe Cozy again.
Yeah, Joe Cozy's having like a passive aggressive fight with this other DJ, Al Magliano. They keep signing the wall like.
Oh, that's cool. That's funny.
Martin Short, Connie Osmond.
Eddie Money's fading away. Kind of like
Yeah.
in life. Jackie Martling, comedian. He's very clean. Look him up. Amy Schumer, comedian. She had a movie called Trainwreck. You guys probably weren't able to watch that yet. Pat Benatar and Neil Giraldo. We mostly have shows for, say, your parents' age or older.
But you guys have movie nights and you have kids
We have a
productions
lot
during
of
the
other
summer,
things,
right?
So you might have been here for a school trip. You might have been here for the Christmas show.
During the summer, you
Really
have
great.
the camp or something, right?
We have a summer camp every summer, ages 9 to 18, where they learn about dance and theater and how to go on an audition. And there's a creative writing and literacy component of it. Every year there's a different theme. So we're gonna go out into the lobby. It's gonna get dark for a second, and it's gonna get light again. Any questions in the chat at all?
Yeah, guys, I'm monitoring the chat, so if anybody has any questions.
So let's cut. If you've been here for anything, let us know in the chat. Let me know what you came to see.
Teachers, please, if you could just write extra kids and write in the chat. We're more than happy to answer.
So here you can see, guys, the whole theater from a different perspective. Before we were standing on stage, and now you see what it looks like from the audience. And these seats are all brand new, right?
These seats are about 5 years old, yes. A lot of leg room down here. So upstairs, the seats are a little bit closer together because that was the original architectural design down here. Since there were no seats, like I mentioned earlier, we were able to design this really to the customer experience to make sure that everybody had great sight lines and comfort. Sometimes when you go to a show and you're sitting in an old theater, the seats are very tight because people were smaller then. We've, as a society, we've gotten a little bigger.
But even
Smaller,
from the last-
longer.
even from the last row in the back, guys, it's still great.
You can still see great.
Yeah.
So let's continue out into the lobby.
How are we doing on time, Mr. Quasi?
We got 15 minutes, so we'll be more than enough time.
So this is a very pretty part. So the lobby, if you look at this, at the ceiling, like I said, this is still all done by hand. This is the human hands did this. It was not machines. There was no computer that designed this. This was somebody by hand. It was wood and then plaster. So everything you see is wood and plaster. This is gold leaf paint. So the theater was built, an architect, his name was Eugene De Rosa. He was from Italy. And the interior designer, so the person who took care of all the inside of the theater, was a man by the name of Nestor Castro. He was from Spain. That's what, here he is. There's De Rosa and there's Castro. So that's why, if it looks very European, Spanish, or Italian to you, that's because that's where they were from. So it was important to them to bring their culture from their homeland overseas in Europe to America. So there's so much history here. Yeah, I would love you to ask your grandparents about coming here. If you have grandparents who were from Staten Island originally, they may remember seeing their very first movie here. This theater was built originally as a movie theater. So if you can imagine seeing a movie in this big building, this is the way you saw movies, as opposed to now where you watch them on your phone or on Netflix, or even when you go to a movie theater, the movie theaters are much smaller than this.
It's a very different experience.
Right.
People used to get dressed up to go to the movies. It wasn't
Right? People used to get dressed up just to go to the store. Now we don't get dressed up anymore to do anything. Nothing. So yeah, if you look up, oh yeah, so we've gotten many proclamations. Because this theater almost was torn down. So it was really great what my boss and the family did to restore it. It gave so many people jobs. I was mentioning before the amount of jobs that are available with the performing arts. It's not just the performer on stage. There's management, there are hair and makeup, there's costumes,
hundreds of people.
there's people who work the sound, the audio engineer, the lighting engineers, there are carpenters, there are electricians,
Merchandise people, roadies,
right?
hundreds of people it takes to put on one show.
People who drive the truck, people who book the travel in the office, people who design the posters, who design the sets. There are
What's
so
up
many
top?
different. So we're gonna go up there. This is the second floor balcony. To give you another perspective of the theater. Right here on these steps, actually, another TV show was shot here. There was a TV show called Gotham a few years ago, which was, I think, a prequel to Batman. And they shot. We have a lot of filming. So up here.
There you go. This is that.
So up here would be the second floor lobby. So when you come in to sit in the balcony, you would pass through here first. And right now, as you can see, we've got a lot of stuff out because we're doing some cleaning, spring cleaning, if you will.
Chandeliers are so cool.
Aren't they cool? So this is all, again, all done over 90 years ago. These are original. And we have, you know, sometimes we have shows. We have after parties up here. We'll have a little cocktail reception. In this area, we would have this set up with a long table. And this would be where the bar and the concession stand would be for a show. So you come into the theater, you get a drink, you get a popcorn, and then they would sell it right here. So you can go up to the seats. I can show you the, let's go this way. Any questions coming in the chat at all?
No questions, guys. Please feel free. Teachers.
Are they watching? Are we doing, is this?
I think people are still watching.
We have a heart defibrillator in case anybody has an emergency while they're here. We've got fire extinguishers anywhere. So
The building's up to code, you guys.
building up the code. In case anybody watching trying to get me. This whole section was renovated in 27. And this carpeting is brand new, but it's similar to what the original car 29. These seats are all brand new. There are cup holders with every seat. There's lighting. You guys may not even realize when you go into a theater, there's usually lights at each aisle. They're not on right now, but the lights help to light you away. There's handrails for those who, you know, who need to hold on as they're walking up and down. But you can see we're in the balcony. You can see the stage clear as day. Does anybody know what that light is on the stage? Does anybody know what the name of that light is?
Teachers, feel free to write in the chat what your students say. That's a cool trivia question to look up, what that light is for on the stage. So what is it?
I don't think anybody knows what it's.
Nobody knows. Okay, so that is called the ghost light. So if you guys want to Google what the ghost light is on the stage, but I'll tell you also, it has a historical, like a traditional meaning, but it also serves a practical purpose. The ghost light is meant that when we shut the theater for the night and we close the doors and we shut the lights off, the ghost light always remains on. And that is to show that we will be back. It is to keep most importantly, is to keep the theater ghosts happy. Now, this is a 90-year-old building. I don't want to scare you. We are not haunted, but there definitely are ghosts in this building. We think they're happy ghosts. They're like Casper. They're friendly. I don't know if they get that
They
reference.
might not even know what Casper is.
The teachers will, but that is just to keep the spirits of the theater, so to speak, happy. It serves a practical purpose because when I come into the theater in the morning, when we put the lights on, I have to walk into a dark, empty theater to go put the lights on. So that helps to light our way. So that light is just signifying that we will be back. As you can imagine, things are different this year. We have been closed for over a year. We haven't been able to have a show. It's kind of depressing, to be honest. So I'm happy to have guests today. I don't get out much anymore. But we will be back. We will have shows again. And we hope to see you when we come back. Cool.
I think that about wraps us up.
Cool.
All right.
So, but we can take you down these stairs and we'll just exit through the lobby the way you would. Thank you for coming, guys.
Oh, this is awesome.
Thank you for having us.
Cool. Now, I used to see Mr. Jacobs and Mr. Causey like at least once a week.
We haven't seen each other in a long time. So spoiler alert, guys, since you eventually find out. Me, Mr. Jacobs, and Vin here, we played a band together called Causing the Effects. We would play all over Staten Island, we do weddings and stuff for our president, the parks and stuff like that. And so we haven't even been able to play for over a year. So we're the best of friends. I get to see Mr. Jacobs every day, but kind of. But we haven't seen Vin in quite some time, so it's very nice.
Good to see Vin again. For
But,
now, for now.
For now.
It's small, right?
Why don't you just show us this lobby and then we'll wrap it up. Here's the staff working behind the scenes,
Very busy.
Very.
the box office, where you sell the tickets. Purell.
So this lobby was just renovated over the last year.
Beautiful.
New paint, new doors, marble was cleaned up on the floor, new carpeting. So we're really enhancing the customer experience right from the moment you walk in from the street.
So once again, Vin, thank you for having us
Thank you,
today.
guys.
The sixth graders really, I think, got a lot out of this tour today. It's very
I hope
cool,
so. I hope
really
you
cool
agree.
experience.
Make sure when everything's open, you guys come down with your families, come see a show.
Please, if you guys have Instagram, if you'll all go and follow St. George Theater at ST George Theater. Oh, not while you're in school, but when you can, if you remember. And that's it. Thank you very much.
Cool. And now we're gonna be heading over to the ferry, so we'll be back on a little bit with what you guys know. Okay, see you in a little bit.